film production and worked in the film industry for a couple of years. But ultimately, I continue to work on projects in various capacities in software. And I ended up kind of focusing a little bit on technology and a little bit on business, which was probably the best thing that I did. I ended up, after a while, getting involved with Ziff Davis Publishing as a journalist, although actually, ironically, not on any game publications. From there, I went and built up sort of a general expertise with technology and went to work for a game software company called Mindscape, based in the San Francisco Bay Area, and did a lot of different roles there that range from technology and product development to business development to marketing to basically a lot of different things. From there, I kept pestering Microsoft, telling Microsoft where they'd gone wrong and what the mistakes were and that sort of stuff, and eventually they kind of felt frustrated enough that they said, well, you're so smart, you come figure it out. So that's how I ended up at Microsoft.
Yeah, same, well, not the same, but like many of you, just a general gaming, since a little kid background. But into high school, I ended up working at the local video game room in the early to mid 80s. Ended up keeping that job as I got into college, while as the video game room boom died off, that went out of business. So I didn't do much, within the industry, so to speak, even at a local level, until I got out of school, then into Microsoft again, about 8 years later, and got into the hardware group as a beta coordinator for a product called Windows Printing System, but stayed in the hardware group essentially for 3 years, and then they came out with the Sidewinder 3D Pro joystick, and I was asked by the marketing manager to be a product manager on that product. And long story short, went from product manager to a technical evangelist, now dev relations manager. Just like gaming, just work hard at it, and got where I'm at today. So persistence definitely pays off, but you just do what you enjoy, and that's about it.
How many of you guys really want to get into the games business? Okay, good. And how many have any clue right now, or is that why you're here, to kind of hear what we did? Kind of looking for a path. Do you have some idea, or does anybody have any idea? Yeah? Okay. I mean, I took a little bit different route than these guys in that, I've always loved games and done, Atari, television, ColecoVision, all those kinds of things from the early days. And, but I had no idea how to get in. I was from Oklahoma, and, a little podunk town, in the middle of nowhere. Silicon Valley was just a faraway place, and in the late 80s, the Sound Blaster came out and kind of revolutionized gaming in terms of audio on the PC, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool, but still no idea how to get into it. So went to school, industrial engineering, it's pretty standard stuff, but still loved gaming. They just happened to show up in my town and had a technical support facility there. So I joined up answering phones, tech support. So when you call in and you have problems, you were talking to someone like me. And that was the easiest way for me to get involved. But just through hard work and knowing what I wanted to do, I worked my way up in that organization and then wound up in their corporate offices in California. And then as I left that company, I looked for, what in 3D gaming, what would make an impact in the industry, and found 3DFX. Thought that they would be kind of cool, even though they were small at the time. And it turned out really well. So that's kind of how I got in, is just not necessarily stumbling into it. I wanted to get into it, but didn't know how, and just found any crack I could find and went for it. So.
I think that's the same with all of us, if I can just interrupt for a sec. Some of us stumbled into it, but I would say some of us definitely were looking for that opportunity, and as soon as that opportunity presented itself, all of us just jumped at the chance right away.
Yeah, I agree with that. I used to just play a lot of old Apple II games, and just never really thought, that I just was like a mystery who made these games, and just never really considered it as an occupation I could pursue in the future, or something that was actually feasible. So I used to just sit around in Barnes & Noble and read all these game programming and assembly books, and used to just wow, wouldn't it be cool, who actually makes these games, And so I went to school for computer engineering. I was there and just played around with some demos and stuff. I was all ready to go into the computer security industry. I had a job lined up for that, and And then one of my friends, he was doing some Quake mods, and you know, he just enlightened me. He's like, you know, this is every area of computing, every area of coding that you ever wanted to do, and all in one. And I was like, wow, you know, that's really true, and I never realized that before. So, you know, when he put it that way, I was like, all right. So I stuck around for another year in school. I got my master's degree. I did some more work in computer graphics, OpenGL. I did some demos. A friend of mine went out to Intel, and he was interviewing there with a graphics group, and you know, he said he saw this demo out there, and they were doing this adaptive. They're changing the level of detail on the fly with a continuous level of detail, depending on the processor, depending on the video card. And I was like, damn, that's cool. And so when he came back, we started working on a project, just like continuous level of detail. And I had this, I just downloaded this model from there. It was this cow. It was like a 5500 polys or something. And I put it through some this process and just reduced it down into this mesh. So then we whipped up this demo for a class, and it just, you know, you could refine. You could just use the mouse to drag the the polys count up and down. And so like it had this rotating blue cow, and it would just spin around. You could just change the level of detail. But you know, it was fun. But that demo did come in handy for me when I came time to graduate. I showed the demo. I heard there was this games company over at, like, they have this incubator center for startup companies at the university, and so I heard there was a game company there. I showed him the demo, showed Kartik the demo, and you know, he liked it, and they needed somebody to work on Terminus for the graphics, and so we went from there. Been there since. Been there about a year now.
Actually, I needed a poor staff to write a software render for Terminus, and you know, he was it. He was ready to,
Nobody else is
ready to
stupid
break
enough.
in and like stick it out and write a software render, and now he's wrapping up on the D3D render for Terminus, and it's looking really good. But it was the demo that really he was able to really show off what his skills were. And you know, when you're hiring, you really want to have people who have enough of a background that they can just like pick up something and go. They're probably writing something brand new, but they got to learn really fast. You know, while working on it, because you usually have such tight deadlines. And you know, that's some of the characteristics we look for, and Jesse fit that bill. But let me ask you guys, how many of you guys are in school right now, like whether it's high school or college? All right, that's pretty cool. I wanted to get into the games industry like really bad, like ever since I was really young. And I was in high school, and I wanted to start a company. You know, I started playing like different adventure games, and there's a game called Mean Streets from Access. It was you know, VGA graphics. It had like primitive full motion video, and I said, wow, this is a great game. I really like it. I can do that. You know, what do I know? You know. But it was basically my brother and I got a couple of buddies from high school, and we said, all right, we're going to start a company. We're going to make a game, and it's going to be better than this. And we hadn't gotten a clue. I mean, none of us were programmers. I mean, that was like a big problem right there. You know? And so we were like, okay, what can we do here? And well, it turned out that you know, as we were really trying to pick apart these games, and we said, okay, this is a little bit more complicated, and you know, enough more than we can chew. And but we were still like, you know, totally adamant about writing games, and we were working on our first game design, and it took forever. I mean, I was in high school, and it wasn't until after I graduated from high school that we got a publishing deal for the game. What we did actually before we got the publishing deal was we said, all right, none of us can write a game engine. And, you know, we accepted that fact, and so we said, all right, what are we going to do? And I said, all right, let's license a game engine. And, well, we got no money. All right, we better talk fast and see if we can get an engine. And we did that, and we licensed the game engine. Actually, it was used by Access Software.